Welcome to Bottom Line Sports Talk. I'm George Abraham. You know my partner, Albert Campman. Albert, we didn't know it'd be this quick, but it was time to do a show on the transfer portal. Never have I seen one change be so great. Last Monday morning, 1,000 players entered the portal.
Yeah, so when we decided to do a special show, we want to make it clear that transfers have been around for a long time.
Right.
It isn't like this happened, just not the sheer numbers. Their sheer numbers is crazy. Coaches have always been looking to upgrade their roster.
They had to sit, though.
Always relied on transfer.
Right?
Yes.
But they may not know that.
Yeah. You go, for you people watching the show, I hope you know. You can transfer tomorrow and start playing another school.
Yeah, in the old days, unless you went backwards, that's why IUP and Slippery Rock got so good so fast, because kids from, say, Pitt or wherever, they could play immediately if they went backwards.
Yeah.
Now, if you went across 1-to-1, you had to sit out a year, and if you went in your own conference, you had to sit out 2 years.
Right.
No one was doing that.
So junior colleges was the place to go in the old route for transfers. You could play right away, and so they've always been searching for ways to get kids to play right away, and but it has been around. There's been great transfers that have made it big time, and others that have been flops. You people have a certain school you root for. You know that happens all the time. We decided to select a group of players that not only made it but became Hall of Fame players.
Not just in college. In other words, they had a great college career, but most of them went on to the pros.
Yes.
And did even more.
Yeah, and you'll hear the list. You may want to make your own list in your mind. Who's the greatest transfers of all? One of the positions we'll talk about is the quarterback position. Has had some great transfers, no question about that.
Let's talk about that. So you're talking about a guy. He could have won the Heisman. He could have won some kind of MVP, a Super Bowl, or whatever, or in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But there's one guy who did them all.
Yeah, at the quarterback position, we'll start there, and that's one of our favorite guys, Roger Staubach. For you young people, put on YouTube and watch him play. He transfers to New Mexico Military Institute and ended up coming to the Navy. And when you talk about Navy football in the early 60s, they were okay, up and down. But then all of a sudden they had that magical season when he transferred in at 62, and in 1963 as a junior, not only did he win the Heisman, but Navy played for the national championship. By Texas.
Yeah, Scott Appleman.
Yeah.
My recollection of him, I tie his game there in 63 to the shooting of the president, November 22nd,
yeah,
when JFK was shot. And I kind of tie those together.
They weren't sure they were going to play, all these games, because it was during the season. They closed out a lot of games.
Yeah.
But they were unbeaten and ranked second, lost 28-6. He graduated in 65, and guess what? He didn't go straight to the pros.
No.
He had to serve his country.
He went to Vietnam.
Yeah, he served his country, and from that point on, though, if you follow the Dallas Cowboys, and that's America's team, you watch Staubach lead them to 4 Super Bowls, 2 victories, and now he's in the Hall of Fame going in 1985.
Talk about him a little bit.
Well, he was Roger the Dodger.
Yeah, they threw the ball. Like Navy weren't no option.
Yeah. So you talk about Roger Staubach. When you see the running quarterbacks today in the NFL, he was long before that. He would take off and run for 30 yards in a minute. He could throw. He had a rifle for his arm. Just being from the Naval Academy, he was brilliant, and was a tremendous leader. Every player on that team looked up to him. Played for legendary Tom Landry. Just a perfect fit for a team that became America's team.
And he's
Dallas.
A legend in Dallas. Anything he put his name to,
and
was
deservedly
successful.
so. Anybody comes out of the Navy and serves, and anybody that plays like he did is a true legend. Unlike some of the goofballs today that happen to play good, but are jackasses off the field. He did everything the right way.
Talk about the other 4 transfers who won the Heisman.
Yeah, you can probably think of them. Think of 4 other quarterbacks that say, "Wait, they transferred, they won the Heisman. They should be there." Well, we put Staubach over these guys, but you've seen
pro
them.
Success. I do.
Yeah, you've seen them. You've seen these players. One of them you probably saw yesterday. Joe Burrow went from Ohio State to LSU.
What did Urban Meyer tell me? He threw like a girl.
Yes.
What was he thinking about?
Yeah, that might be one of the worst statements
Urban
ever.
must have had a couple
One of the worst-
shooters or something.
one of the worst statements I've ever heard.
Like when he left the team to go hang out at the bar.
Baker Mayfield went from Texas Tech to Oklahoma.
Remember that?
Connor Murray went from Texas A&M to Oklahoma.
Remember that?
And Cam Newton, who was a spectacular player in college, went from Florida to Blinn College to Auburn. I know. No, I can't say I know. I'm going to have a strong hypothesis. There was some money involved in that one because all of a sudden he's looking where he's going to go. And
but here's the best part. I remember that. His dad was saying how everyone was trying to pay him to play.
That's what I'm saying.
But his dad never mentioned why he went to Auburn.
That's what I'm saying.
It made me think.
Yes.
Jeez, oh man.
Yeah, so that those transfer quarterbacks are really special. As you notice, a couple went to Oklahoma. So Lincoln Riley's been involved. And then now he has one in Southern Cal. So he knows where to find quarterbacks to help him win.
You have no worry. I've put the Maluch on him. He is done. I put it on him before the Utah game. It's still on him, so you have no worries.
Yeah, so Roger Staubach hits our list off at number one as the quarterback.
Yeah.
At running back, a guy who's made a reputation outside of football.
No.
But if you ever watched him play, he went from City College of San Francisco to Southern Cal, and it was O.J. Simpson. Nothing normal about him. When you watched him, once again, put YouTube on and watch him run on the field.
John McKay?
For John McKay. He was
student body left, student body right, they called it.
In the end zone. National Power in 1967, the great 67-year-old run against UCLA. Those two teams were great, a 21-20 game. He won the Heisman as a senior, and then went on into the Rose Bowl, which at that time, George, was the bowl.
The granddaddy.
Yeah, he was the granddaddy's role. And then he was the first pick in the pros.
Yeah.
Played 11 seasons in the NFL.
Bills, right?
Yeah, Bills. First player to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. I remember the cold day that he ran it in. And that, by the way, George, that was a 14-game season.
Yeah, it was.
Do you understand? I love to hear him go, he ran for 900 yards. I said, in a 16-game season,
hey,
you're not even averaging 100 yards a game. Jeez, oh man.
Tell him the Joe DeLongmore story. We have a story.
Oh, no, you tell, because you're the one who heard it first. That was his block. That was his offensive line.
His offensive line.
Hall of Fame offensive line.
Yeah, they call him the Electric Company and the Juice, whatever. But this DeLongmore was all decade team. Not all that year, all decade. So he's at one of these camps a couple years ago, and they have him.
This just happened lately.
A couple years ago. Yeah, he's on the offensive line. Of course, he's old now. So are we. So is everybody. If you're lucky, you're old.
Yes.
So he's down there. He's showing this kid, and the kid comes off. He's shaking his head. He said, "Paps ain't got no something." No, Paps be tripping.
Paps be tripping.
Pappy be tripping is the exact quote. Because my buddy's an agent, he was on the field.
Like he's trying to say, why is that old guy?
What's that old guy telling me?
Pappy
he
be
was
tripping.
the greatest. Pappy be tripping. So obviously, this guy was a legend. He blocked for a legend.
Yes.
OJ, now obviously off the field, he was a bad guy. We found out later. But man, on that field, he's good at running back as I. Now Barry Sanders was a little flashier, Gale Steer, but nobody ran with the speed and power that he did.
Yeah, he did. He had a long gait. And could change direction. Number 32, what a player he was. This one is a little more modern and electric player. I would say Jerry Rice is number one. No question on that as the best wide receiver ever. But this guy would be up there at number 2 or 3. The argument is 2 or 3.
Yep.
And that's Randy Moss. He went from Notre Dame to Florida State. To Marshall. That was his.
Yeah. I don't think he ever quite got in Notre Dame. There was a marijuana arrest back in that time. Today it would not be. But back then it was.
Yeah, so he always had academic issues, as they talked about. He had the arrest in a fight in West Virginia. He went to FL for Florida State.